Hello, hello. We are live again for the second time today. Great to see you. If you're arriving, if I've set it up correctly, then likely somebody is at some stage. And I shan't be alone. To be alone is one thing, to feel alone another. Thank you very much for everybody who tunes in. So we're going to cover the Tradespotting quick take on GME. That's the Gamestop SEC report on short selling and market structure. We're going to go over that and do a very quick take on it. I advise you to tune into Rocky's stream where he's doing a real analysis of the whole thing and helping people understand what it means and the implications for those subtle points hidden within it, which I'll likely miss, but who knows, maybe I'll catch a couple. I think I've seen one or two interesting bits. And anyway, we'll talk about that, and I'll do the TA, the quick take on the technical analysis, and tell you what the charts have been saying to me today about GME and AMC. And as I say, for further implications from that report and what it might mean with regards to price action and how that affects the market at large and the commentary on the market that you can find within this report, then you should definitely check out Rocky Outcrop's channel. He's on YouTube, Rocky Outcrop. ROCKYOUC. Nope, OUTCROP. Congratulations, Jamie. So, yes, excellent. Is there people here? There is. 26 likes and 39 viewers. Excellent. That's fantastic. Thanks for joining me, everybody. It's appreciated. So quickly, when I can't schedule things and whatnot, it is annoying. It's very annoying. Remember to subscribe, and if you haven't, like the video, please do. If you're tuning in late, remember, like the video. I wish I had my handy cup reminder of these things. I don't, so I'll have to pretend. Like buttons. Yeah, so, how is everybody? Good, I hope. If not, quit bitching at me. You ready to do this, right? Wrong. Jokes. Anyway, that was a joke, but we do not allow weakness in this dojo. So check your made-up peanut allergy and your fake asthma and any other bullshit at the door. And let's look at this document as if we are one of those challenged kids. What are you saying there? What are you saying there? What are you saying? Huh? Tradespotting, I'll be back for the replay, hanging out with the Houston now. All right, aye, cool. Cheers. Yeah, right, aye. Traitor. You traitor is what you is. Anyway, well, good luck. Hope Houston's doing well. Give him a shout out for me. How you doing, Houston? Hope everything's great over there when you arrive over there. You big traitor, you. Man, what? I don't even know what your name is anymore. You're dead to me now. Ha ha ha! I'm going to chop your head off for that whole event. I'm going to chop your head off one of these days. You just wait and see. Eric, how's it going? Great show with Andy today. Thank you very much. It was great to see him. And it's great to be back with you guys. And now we are ready. You're ready. You're ready. You're ready. We're all ready. So also you can see on the screen here before we get started, I should start with the button. Start. There you go. Timer has begun. You can see that this is me. This is my head. And it's quite often will be one profile of it. And then above on this other side, you've got the open interest by strike price laid out in this lovely little graphical representation of where the maximum pain will be, i.e. where most people will lose most money. And that's at $180 with a maturity this Friday, the 22nd of October. And we're looking obviously at GME, ticker closed today at 186.02. But apparently there's somewhere else you could be if you're interested in GME. And yes, recent people who've helped me out here, Astrid, Merrick, Ghost of Dan, the legend that he is, Danielle, and oh there. And again, it goes to Dan because that's what kind of guy he is. Right, so we've been a whole minute into this and it's supposed to be a Busy Ape video. And people feel like I'm not speeding up. Recently, I got a comment on a video that said this is supposed to be for Busy Apes. And it's 1 hour, 42 minutes long. Busy Apes don't have longer than 10 minutes. And I was like, tell me about it. But that night I didn't, because that was 1 hour and 45 minutes over that stream. And I didn't have time either. I was wrecked. People needed help on stuff and they wanted it, so I did it. And then later on, I went on to do another 8 hours the same night. And I know what it's like. I don't have time either. It's just the way it goes, you know? Sometimes you're having fun, you forget. And every other responsibility goes out the window. And it? That's the kind of thing we do over here. But then there's others like our Senor Density, who said, you come back for the replay. Well, now I have to stay. Well, no, sir. I've already checked your jacket. No, you, my friend, have a reservation for the replay over here. A nice little table by the kitchen. The report came in with just 100% short interest. It must have been several 100%. Well, yeah, the report, what they're going to tell you. So what should you look at first? The report, we could do a quick review and then I can direct you to Rocky. And or anywhere else you choose to go, any other mistakes you choose to make, any other twists and turns that you unfortunately find yourself sucked down. Tradespotting, Saturday, cue the sun. Aye, cue the sun, that was nice. That was a good one. I like that. How you doing, Wolfrick? Trade sploshing Saturday, cue the sun. Because it's Saturdays. I like that. But then you try to get me streaming on Saturdays there, which is one of my 2 days off. It's also the one day I spend nearly dead after Fridays. Responsible people are not apes. We are not apes! Wait, don't call me an ape! Super chatted me as well. Oh, did you, Manifest NC? You really try to get in my good books now. Kind of might actually work. I'm that kind of guy, isn't it? Disgracefully, money motivates me like that. Only though apparently 60% of my motivation can be accounted for with money, and until such times as I reach above the median. Apparently that's the way it works, though. If you believe Hertzberg, you believe anything, right? Am I right? So you've got your graph here and you've got other information around about it that makes it a really engaging, interesting scene for you to look at, so that you don't go off and disappear, you sneaky manifest density. Off with my head! Yeah, it's going to be like that, isn't it? It's got to be. And we also had double members written down here for a head, but it's going to be manifest density. So this is manifest density. So Wolfrick, when you're going for the swipe, the swoosh, the swash, the final crunch, you're going to have to execute manifest density like the guy you want to hit is standing behind this first guy here, right? You're going to have to, it's going to be that kind of effort. So, you know, the other day when you got completely and utterly carried away, you could take it like that, but legitimately this time, that would be fantastic. Thanks very much. And cheers very much, Manifest, for that contribution to the group Porridge fund. Great talk with Andy. Thanks. You're very welcome, Barrett. And so was I. Very grateful to have Andy on, who himself is a very nice person. Plus, he's good at what he does, and he's excellent at communicating to all sorts of different groups of people. And it was my privilege to have him on the show. He's such a nice guy. You streamed into Saturday until the sun came up. Oh, that's right. Was all I was getting at. Oh, it was all you were getting at, was it? All right, okay. He's trying to say I can't cut you. You're a beast. Oh, there you go into my good books again. You keep your days of rest, please. Okay, thanks. I will do. Thank you very much. Under doctor's orders there. Doomslayer's orders. I'll volunteer for the sacrifice. You're going to volunteer, huh, Simone? Well, there's another number of people we might talk about. This is supposed to be a quick show, right? I've got to get into the charts and the quick take on this thing, right? Grim Cooper, well, you could be also there. And there's a number of, you're going to have to really sharpen that sword, Wolfrick. Kitty babes. Tradespotting timer check. Check the timer. It's at 5 minutes and 48 seconds. And in here, it's at 5 minutes and 52 seconds. So the timer check seems to be working good for me. Went from 322 to 407, says Mizzy. It's jumping on mine. What? Has Katie Wood responded to your challenge from Saturday? No, she hasn't, but then that might in part be due to the fact that I had to delete that 7 or 8 hours of content that I did and put out there for us all to enjoy and have fun. I had to delete that shortly after it was up, so fortunately that and all the lessons within it are lost and gone. Only I downloaded it before I deleted it, so one day somewhere I'll bury it in a scroll and I'll put that in a cave which will later be filled over by a sea itself which will die and will then later reveal this information to the world in such a way that everybody can't but fucking believe it. Lars, new member. Lars, are you a real member? Lars and the real member. This is it, folks. We've got Lars and the real member. Welcome to Chimp. Very much appreciated. Lars, you legend. Thank you. And also, everybody else who's not yet signed up to be a member. Oh my goodness. It is tough being that poor because I know you want to, but whoa, yous are restricted. You know, £30 a day, that's too much for me. I'm not here for that kind of content. And the type of content you are here for, right? It's that aggressive kind, isn't it? It's that kind of trenchant, piercing, awesome TA that makes you think, wow, holy fuck, maybe he is from the future. You know, you want me to be less of that kind of asshole and more of that speedy, concise, to the point, let's cut to the chase, stop making short story, long story kind of asshole. That's what you're actually looking for, I understand. Hesitation is death. Yeah. I gotcha. So let's do this then. This being what? This being a quick take on the something. Not round one. It's not round yet. That's the chart. So that's one of the things that it could be if we were to look at that first. The close at 186.2 that we talked about at the time. Adding to this. Where? No, that's not adding to it. Here is where I'd add to it. Yes. Added this. I think this one we're going to go with not that. This'll do, won't it? This'll do lovely and jubbly, gentlemen, ladies and apes and gentlemen apes. Quick takes. I mean, a quick take shouldn't involve this. Well, you know. You need to get advice off somebody who's like experienced at reading PDFs on the internet and pretending that's content. That's what I need to do. Does anyone out there know anyone like that who reads like PDFs and could like give me advice on how to present PDF style content to people? Could they? If they could also give me advice on how to make boring shit seem interesting to the point that you get 1,000 subscribers and seem how somehow like can make money from advertising on YouTube, that'd be amazing too. Anyway, back to the real world, so we call it, where the SEC have released a report on a number of things. This is the routers, however, I've heard people say it all sorts of funny ways, in fact, and they've got a couple of takes on it. They say in one instance that the SEC praises the equity market structure, and they also then go on to say, and this is very much the editorial take on things, not my opinion, but this is the routers who themselves are supposed to be impartial, and perhaps that's what a pill they've swallowed somewhere down the line, that endeavor to be impartial, which of course is very tautologic and a slippery slope. So here goes, they say, and I'm quote now, this is not Tradespotting saying this is Reuters' take on it. Absolves short sellers in the GameStop report. Okay, right now, said what they said. That's one of their takes on it. They've also got another report, which is on the same thing, which says, why did the SEC release a report on GameStop? Right now, there are already, perhaps, to those intuitive, inquisitive interested minds. So the clear proposition is like, well, if there was nothing to look at, what the fuck were you talking about, right? That's one take on it. Second quick Tradespotting take on it is, you try to have a fucking laugh. You delayed it for ages. You delayed it for ages to then go on and say, all good, man. No. That's not what it actually says, is it? That's the narrative that's being put on top of what is actually just data and information. Information which pertains to the questions they asked, and an answer which is unable to talk about specific things. Now, we get to the bottom of this quickly when you scroll down in this quite negative headline here, right, which I would suggest is, you know, an editorial take on things, right? No joke, right? You say they don't have editors. I'd say, what the fuck is that then? You come down and you can see here, the report does not address several outstanding questions, right? You fucking telling me, right? You're telling me. In fact, it deliberately doesn't answer those outstanding questions. In some instances, it never was even allowed to. In others, that wasn't the point of it. It was always like this, and it always will be. They say not buying to cover, which caused the price to go up. Okay, so here you have the GameStop report, right? Let's call it that. It's the market structure report as it pertains to the GameStop squeeze in January and how that affected the efficiency of prices. And you can see here that they have identified with their behind the curtains look at all of the things that happened, including all the information they requested from parties such as GameStop, from all the looking at things they did, including Vlad's phone, from all of the other hints of information from other investigations that has all been pieced together to analyze this entire move in January, as if like that's all we've got to look at. But they say, you know, specifically that's what they were talking about. It's all very much past tense, this report. They say that they can tell you categorically, you now have confirmation from the SEC that nobody covered fuck all, right? Not buying the cover that made the prices go up. It wasn't, right? So yeah, we knew that already, you know. Welcome to fucking 2021. What you like, SEC, Like, I mean, are you serious, It wasn't that they were, come on guys, it wasn't buying a cover that made, it was people going up, like, you know, so the inflection then will be for the news to say, oh, you know, malicious actors pushing the price up. And you're like, no, what? Speculation. We're allowed to buy and sell what we want until somebody stops that process. That's the manipulation directly on the fucking front line of where retailers are supposed to be able to do and exercise their right to buy and you know, this is a fundamental tenet of what it means to be a citizen in America, or a different expression of a human right in many other places in the world. And the SEC are like, yeah, no, it wasn't the buying to cover that pushed the price up. It's like, we fucking know it wasn't the buying to cover. We know there was no buying to cover. We know there was no buying to cover. And they're saying, right, on one hand, right, positive sentiment pushed the price up. There wasn't any buying to cover. And they also later say the short interest was 100%. So short interest was 100%, and the price went up incredible amounts, hundreds and hundreds of percent. And then the broker most heavily involved in the wholesale selling of all your data and the execution of your orders, that broker, who have close ties, and there are other investigations that are still ongoing with records that are concerning Citadel, allegedly these, and that all of that happened when there was 100% short interest, when they say that nothing was bought to cover, and when the price went up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percent, and nobody covered. And it says that there, and this is the take on it from an article, which, let me remind you, talks absolute nonsense in the title up there, right? Now, what, you know, you can't blame them too much. It's the news, right? You know, if they were any good at the things they were talking about, they would at least have some closer alignment to those things, right? Other than talking about events in the past based on somebody else's explanation of those events, right? They'd probably be slightly closer to the x-axis of what was actually going on if they had a fucking clue. They go on here and they say things like, an SEC official, right? Here's where this is the kicker for like how useless that so many things the SEC actually do are, is they said it could not discuss in the report misconduct that could result in enforcement action. So they can't talk about anything that might lead on to any consequence. So what they're saying is our report can now only talk about many things which themselves are inconsequential. That's what they said. That's what that sentence means. That's what that fucking sentence means. You know, so that's what they're, and that is part of what we're up against. You know, that's it, part of what we're up against. You know, and I'm coming here from like on the other side where they're supposed to be investigating these sort of things. And I'm telling you, here's this people try to help you. Who they say to try to help you. The SEC. I mean, you know, this is what are they really saying here, right? This is what they're saying here, right? It's above our heads, mate. This is sort of like kind of above our pay grade, right? That's what that SEC official is kind of there saying. Look, it's not saying, hey, I can't give you the deets, mate. I can't give you the scoop because we're later going to use it against them. No, it's not saying that. It's not saying that at all. It's instead saying, look, mate, it's above my pay grade. I don't either understand, know, or have permission to tell you. That's what that answer says there, right? Because the truth is that there is a way of talking about things, right? This guy up here, he does it in the headline. He takes it in his own hands, right? And he does it here, don't you? Katanga Johnson and Chris Prentice. So they take that into their own hand there. That's their take on things, right? Now, it's fair, right? Everyone's allowed an opinion. Just like I say, just like everybody has an asshole, right? Everyone's allowed one. So, right, and I understand, right? People might say, hey, Jimmy, that's unfair. You're like, yeah, cool. Yeah. You know, I'd say go suck a dick. This isn't about some twaddly, ooh, let me check, did they break this rule here and that. It's like, no, they're actually undermining that whole rule book. In fact, there's one company who owns a massive chunk of it, and then the rest of it's owned by 4 or 5 others that will turn around at each other and ask them, hey, wait, did you do something wrong? And they're like, well, let me just check. Well, no, it's me, eh? So I'm just going to say, nah, I didn't. And then everyone else is like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to admit it either. And so that's the way that's the brilliant self-policing mechanism we've got. And then we can't really rely on the SEC knocking on their door and being like, hello, can you tell me, are you fucking us in the ass? And then the DTC and other members are like, yes, no, we're not, no problem, Gary. And also, here's the details. You'll need to be here tonight at this time. Thank you very much. Bye. And he comes back and tells us like, yeah, no, guys, it's cool. I even went right up to the front door and knocked this time. Like one of them even answered. Like it might have been a butler or something. I don't know, but somebody answered. It's like not really good enough, eh? You know, it's not really good enough when we're talking about like things beyond just SECs need to make people have confidence in the structure of the equities market at times when extreme volatility is likely anyway. It does strike you as a sort of thing that could be considered to be perhaps there are aspects of talking about this thing at certain levels that even the SEC aren't really either prepared or able to do. And it might be that many of the investigations that go on to what actually happened in January are above their head, and it would be like Justice Department, and that is where I fully expect this to end up at some stage. So, right, the SEC on their own part have also got that in their back of their mind, right? They're like, well, if we look as though we're responsible for handling these type of problems, right, which we can see out of the corner of our fucking eye, and they're in this green barrel and it's like a yellow oozy liquid and it's coming out and it's seeping under that door, but it's not in my direct line of vision. And if I don't turn my head to the right, then there is no proof that I ever fucking saw it. And that's what the SEC always have done. It's a joke, right? It's a joke. And I thought for a joke, they don't have to be that way. Anyway, that's essentially what they fucking say about themselves. And here is the report, and we can go on and look at it, but you don't really need to. That's my quick take on things. You can also take Rocky's take on it for the explainer of why it happened instead of relying on this nonsense report, which itself goes on to say, what happened, right? There they point out it went up 1,600%. It talks about how these companies we know, who are also themselves under investigation, or some have been most recently fined for things. Oh, thanks. And we talk about, and it talks a little bit about the surge in retail trading, right? And they say that, like, they try to then not link, they try to, in this same, decouple those two things, which is like, what I'm talking about, mate? They're the same two halves of the same rotten, disgusting apple. The fuck do you think we were buying it for? You idiots. Like, hey. And then why do you think they took away the button? Like, come on. Anyway, what? Well, it's like, what do you like? Hey, and then the people who afterwards report on it again, right? This time, John McCrank, right? Well, we had our editing by Rosabella O'Brien, right? Thanks, Rosabella. I think she probably goes by Rosa, right? I would if my name was Rosabella. Hi, Rosa. You're editing here. I mean, what did you edit, really? The formatting or something? What was going on here? Like, is this capital thing? Is that what you think that's how news articles work, right? Sentences like that come with capitals and stuff. Where's the editing here exactly? Is it just you put in these hyperlinks to the other nonsense, which is Virgin? Where are you at? Like, this is Reuters, man. You're doing credibility. Like, what the fuck, guys? There's still loads of people who are able to investigate things for themselves and understand this stuff. And there's plenty of people on YouTube and Reddit and other places who seemingly have more understanding of these concepts than you do. Come on, guys. The fuck is this? Vice News. It's supposed to be Reuters. The fuck? That's the Tradespotting quick take on that, right? And there's a better actual intellectual or academic take on it going on over on Rocky's channel shortly, either now or shortly. So that's that, right? And welcome to GME. So let's do a quick take on TA, because they can't be here forever, right? Not forever and ever, right now anyway. Not right now, forever and ever right now. No. Forever and ever in some senses, with many beginnings and ends. Right, okay, before we get too much into that. Price action, post-market 186.21. So it doesn't seem like there's been a shattering crescendo of sales volume since that report. In fact, today prices closed up 1.49%. That's interesting, right? Rosabella removed the Pornhub links. That's what she does, yeah. Yeah, that's handy. She removes all the ones that say pinned by Tradespotting. Tell Timothy I sent you. Fuck, man. Does anyone fall for that? And if so, what the fuck? Thanks, Danielle. Yo, Danielle. Yeah. So, Danielle, that's a great point. I like that point you make there. It reminds me, Rosabella, I've got some advice for you, right? This is my advice for Rosabella. And it's good advice for a lot of people, right? Rosabella O'Brien, stop being annoying. Right, so that's that. And then, yes, striking first, right? That's what you would expect, right? Holy shit, this shattering news came out. The shorts were not responsible. It was not them. Market structure, totally intact. That would suggest the price of these meme stocks that everybody's talking about is going to crash. And of course, if that's going to happen, then there'll be some reflection in price action. It'll drop, right? And now, does that mean that it drops tomorrow when everyone's like trying to control the narrative, right? The short hedge funds were wrong-footed. They didn't realize the report was coming out right there and then. They were like, oh, sugar, we expected it last week. Ah, sugar, I was on the toilet. Ah, bloody hell, he didn't have any toilet roll and what's-his-face was out of tea bags. And, we didn't do, sorry, boss, I just didn't get around to it. I didn't notice, man. I wasn't following the news. I set up that Twitter account last week. I've been busy, right? That's what they're like. So maybe tomorrow comes the pressure, right? Which is cool. There's a chart that talks about where price action is likely to go anyway. It doesn't matter. So we'll talk about that and where they might likely get it to if they do put their shoulder to the wall, door, whatever, pedal to the metal, something. What is it they're doing up there? I'm not sure. Anyway, their ass to the grass. That's what it is. Grassy ass. Right, so we're looking at that. And we're saying, well, if that's the news, right, where is the aggressive strike, right? And the counter punch or the, what is it? What's happening, right? Where is the, if you hesitate, you die. You know, that report comes out and there's post-market now and there's plenty of like post-market liquidity on other days. Where is it today? Why price action still? Why is it going up still? Why does it continue to go up? I mean, it's up not 0.1% since the market closed, but that's not, you know, it's down. It's definitely not down. And striking first is about being aggressive. It's about having conviction. It's about trading. And why is not one doing that? Well, it's because GME might get positive growth in the fourth quarter. Is it because this might be the best quarter of the year and it might turn out to be a profitable year overall? Does that mean that it's likely to issue a dividend some point, possibly a special dividend? Who knows? Does that mean that you have to stay the shit and hell out of the way? Even if there isn't a billion% short, does that mean it still likely goes up and is a big good value buy? Holy crap, is that what people are trying to say? Will it get included in the S&P 500? You know, does that mean that it's going to be added to more funds than it's ever been added to in any of these run-ups before? And with coming with its own volatility as it has done, does that mean it's going to occupy quite a large amount of a purchasing power for such a fresh entrant into those funds? I mean, usually these are the way things go. It does seem like it, right? In that particular sector, they're expecting extreme increases in profits. And GameStop themselves have got a route into efficiencies other businesses don't have at the minute, especially in the middle of a supply chain snap. So, you know, Christmas is coming, and some people will never stop talking bullshit. Doesn't matter what, even the information they're given, they'll just tell it. They'll be like, nah, this is what I thought before I was given the data, and then still say the same thing anyway, and that's what it seems like is happening over at that particular article we just came off. And it makes you wonder, are they actually the challenged kids? Because it certainly seems to be two groups, and you know, like I remind you, I'm not crazy. So do we ever get to the TA, right? Hopefully I'll get somehow make this somehow seem like quick to people so they feel like I'm trying to make it quick, which I will do, right? Okay, so yes, good. The 1 minute chart, nah, that's not it. Even on the 1 minute chart here, you're looking at it, you can see there's a couple of linear progressions. These are taken from different points for different reasons. Some of them include measured moves, others describe the psychology of price action. At the minute, this is what you would call a bullish accumulation pattern with a consistent and reliable horizontal resistance at the top and an increasingly higher demand line on the bottom side. So price action accumulates, spirals, and pushes further and further towards resistance, hitting it over and over again. 3 times it's significant, 4 times it's weaker. Thank you very much, Sarah. That's a lovely little happy face. You'd eat that right up, that face, if it was a cookie. Are those eyes rice paper? They're my eye holes, right? So 186 here, and you're looking at that resistance line that's about 188, right? You could have theoretically on 1 minute chart, you've already gone above it a number of times and come back only to 189.93. So not like significant percentage moves or even anything on this logarithmic chart you would even notice right here because of the way it works, right? And that's why it's there for these sort of expectation management and understanding moves as relative to previous ones and calculating how they'd work too. So anyway, look at this linear progression across a logarithmic chart and you can see that there are areas where supply and demand will be relevant, but those are diagonal and they're on small time frames, and I don't say and think they're necessarily something we can put too much weight on their own. We have to add in confluent factors. Here we can see that the RSI has been increasingly lower in its highs. Price action has, though, also been our first move up itself was bearishly divergent from this high here on the RSI when you look back at this previous one. But then that's the way these things work, right? And price action goes on, and as higher it goes, the further your RSI gets pulled up, and at some point there is a divergence between how far price action has gone and how far the RSI has gone. And here price action was pushing up and making new highs higher than back to these sorts of areas. See over here. And the RSI itself at that point, it was lower than here. It was lower than its previous touch above over the side of the bullish control zone. And Rocky is now going live on his show over on his show, so I'll get a link to that when I'm talking about this, so that I can send people in that direction if that's where you're going. And then I'm going to do the AMCT and chop off Thingy's heat. Thingy is now 3 thingies. Should double remember ever turn up, I'm going to chop his heat off. Manifest density. He's going to get it really properly chopped, and then Simone. He's going to stand behind them all and get the bluntest edge of the blade. Ain't that lovely? What a great honour. A great, glorious honour. Yes. So, right, this TA that I was doing there, I was looking for, I'm on the 1 minute time frame. I'm only really explaining concepts at this stage, which is perhaps not what people are looking for in a busy TA show. Clip, thing, majig, whatever. Is that what it is? Is that what I'm doing? Right, go over here, go YouTube, then I'll get a link to Rocky's thing here straight away. Excellent, there it is. And he's got 45 people. Awesome, that's a like button. He deserves it. Share, copy that link. Do you want to give me the link? There it is, great. And then I'll put it in this chat, which I can't get to because I've just gone out of it. I'm such an idiot in all sorts of ways, right? Yeah, that's me, folks. The EJ over here. Already getting tired. Me? Already? What are you talking about? And also, what do you mean already? I've been working at streaming for like 6 or something hours or something plus already. You big EJ. You big EJ. Am I missing something? If and I am, and then let me know what it is, and I'll get to it. Don't mean I'm missing nothing. And there's the link to Rocky's stream pinned, and he's going to explain that, the details around that report, and go for a walkthrough over it in much more helpful fashion perhaps than I've been doing. So I'd advise people, if they're interested in that, to check it out, definitely. And everything here seems to be working. Am I right? You're right, Jamie. Everything is working. Okay. So we were on the 1 minute time frame. We're talking about this. We did get back as far as the 11th of October on this 1 minute time frame, right? Which is a whole week worth of price action squished down there. And you can see essentially it's been a very bullish week with us pushing it up and making higher highs within that, higher lows. That's what you define as an uptrend. You can draw between those higher lows and those higher highs a line. Here's a high. I don't know how that line worked out. Here's a low. Just go over that high again just to make sure. It doesn't really want to work, does it? Here's a low. Then there was the high. And then there was a higher low. Right? And then potentially this is a high. I mean, it's just slightly lower than its previous one. It's also slightly lower on price action, but higher on the RSI. So that's kind of interesting. It's why price then persists at this level with that strength in it. Anyway, there's another high, debatable whether it's higher or not, but it still allows us to draw a line through it, right? Which is what this white line coming in now is, how you draw it, right? There's a trend. Okay, hello, there's a trend. Thank you very much. Let me introduce you. That's a trend. Trend. This is somebody. You two take care of each other. I'm off to get a drink. So, yeah, that was that. That's what we were going to talk about. It was that 1 minute chart, and we were going to do, right, yeah, and we're going to talk about how, yeah, it's the 1 minute time frame. So, right, there are other ones that are bigger time frames, and they are better. You don't have to be bigger, and you don't have to be the biggest, right? To be the best, you don't have to be the biggest. And sometimes if being the best relies on agility and flexibility and how responsive you are and can make moves based on what customers want, then perhaps being the biggest isn't necessarily ever going to be the best. I rewatched the morning stream. It was great. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. The wrenches scares me. Put the guns down. The wrenches. Ultraviolence between family, I can accept. And then a little, yeah, a glass of milk. Right, so, what was I going to say? I was going to say move from the minute of time frame up and look at these bigger bad boys that we were trying to take down on our inevitable rise towards the top side, despite us this terrible news we've had from the SEC. Oh, we checked it out. The shorts haven't covered. No worries. We'll not release that report last week. We'll wait a wee bit. Shit, how do we say it in such a way as it means nothing? Gotcha, got your boss. Get the interns on it. They don't know what they're talking about in the first place, right? And then we'll ensure that the editorial things that get picked up on, right? Yeah, let's just wait until tomorrow and let the hedge funds take care of that for us. Anyway, Rocky's going to go through it now and actually explain what it means. So, and you don't have to listen to my soap opera take on things, right? So you've got this harmonic, the D point and where it aims to, right? The 618 is nearly quite reliable at this point. It's also, if you were to draw on, as we have done here, this triangle with price action coming in along the 189 where it keeps hitting on that 1 minute time frame, and of course on the 15-minute time frame you can see that's only a tiny representation of this greater picture. And I'm sure it took us back to a week looking at this segment, this little, can you even see where my purple dildo is? There it is there. It's not a dildo. It looks like one though, doesn't it? Wibble wobble, wibble wobble. Anyway, hi. This is me introducing. Anyway, sorry, I skipped that. Right, so busy apes back. Right, so yeah, you've got this resistance. It's a horizontal resistance, and it comes in at the sort of place that forms a very bullish psychology. Likely break out to the top of that. The measured move would take you up in line with this upward slope and diagonal line, which is also your 618. Which is where you would first expect price action to get to in the move off of this harmonic. It's a Gartley, and it does ultimately push up towards a 1618. Just quickly show you that's up around $330, and that would be the full extension of this harmonic. But on the way, you've got a number of places to go, as we've talked about recently. We've also then covered how on the longer term time frames, and this is a busy ape take on it, so if you've not seen my shit in a while, and this is what the stuff means from the longer time frames down, there's a number of bullish accumulation patterns on the wedge there. You can see it on the wedge on the RSI, like auto. Never, my friend, are you auto? There they are there. Wedge, right? Breakout, retest, breakout, retest, new wedge, breakout. Let's see, retest, new wedge. Who knows? Where's price of that action at that time? New high on price action as it's doing these breakouts and the new highs on the RSI and breaking into the bullish control zone. That's what we need to see. These two made it into the bullish control zone. This hasn't. Price action since tested and put in a higher low, right? They're equally as good as each other when you're trying to establish which strength of the trend, where does it lie, right? Here, test, great, go up, onwards, fantastic. In retrospect, better than even breaking a high, because then you're free to go on and say, well, I've already tested my trend, and then the extension is even more exuberant anyway. So, right, that doesn't necessarily help people's nerves, but you can see since then we've held above the center line with price action holding support at a higher low. That's very positive. It's a positive, as this is a positive, and neither of them are directly translatable now. They're both like hieroglyphics or dead languages and that, and they mean certain things at certain times, and there's appropriate uses for it and others when it would just mean nothing. And at this stage, what you're looking for is that move to either confirm the center line here or price action to move up with a test of this, and then should it come back down and retest a horizontal from a breakout of the wedge, that to be again at a higher low, and in the meantime it could even put in a higher high. But whether or not that breaks out of the current formation, I can't say yet. I don't know. But let's go in and look more at those lower time frames. Say what happened today. Well, we could even actually get in here to the 30-minute time frame. We had a number of different lines on the go here. here. 15th and 16th were trading together within a range, right? 17th, 15th trading. At the end of the 15th, you trade into a shitty range, which then you opened out, and with now no gap. This previous low, lower than what your lowest area since you moved up again, but it was nothing definitive. I mean, this was still crappy price action. It was also below this horizontal, this diagonal sloping line. It's below the 50 period. It was the low area of the retrace on this thing, slipping below the 618. And I was like trying to stay positive about it because it then went on to make a good move, but like really it was anemic and crap. The good thing about that was the RSI was managing to pull itself out of this bearish control zone, which is like positive, and you had a positive cross and a volatility flash, which is worth bearing in mind on Rocky Outcrop's DMI at this point, at which point price action then moved. You got a huge wick on the next candle and you're up here and you were thinking, well, that flash happened just 30 minutes ago. Where's price action going to go? Because at some point it's likely to return back to this candle where this point of it when that volatility flash happened, and then what do you know, you got it nearly straight away. So nice little example of how that can work short in term or long term. Maybe it does have a longer confirmation, bigger time frames, but it's already done something there, and you could see like volatility incoming certainly did that job too. So excellent indicator there. Anyway, the price action then went on and moved up to 188. That was in today. Started off at, which candle was the first one? This one was negative 30 minutes. We'll put price action back in time to just before it. You can see you were putting in this low. You were testing it and your RSI was slipped below the moving average, the center there, and the moving average. We talked about that and the potential for it to recover on smaller time frames because it looked okay on higher ones at that stage. And some sort of recovery here and holding the 618 is being important. Let's then go on in time. See, there you had your first 30 minutes of price action. What was it? There you go. And then it was down, your RSI dropping below, but price action itself managing to hold that 618. So you got one of the two, and then you're looking to see what happens. Nothing confirmed in terms of a trend change by your Rocky Outcrops indicator. So again, you're kept safe with that. And then your momentum here is obviously not going anywhere downside yet. Despite what price action's doing, and all of that's coming having tested this 50 period moving average, also having just got above this diagonal sloping line, which as you can see is relevant because look, touched it with a wick, body close, open above, open below, breaks it, makes a big move, the range of the previous candle that broke above it, right? That's all the price action it does when it's like following along the psychology of this line. Anyway, you've got your 50 period moving average, you got your 618 protecting it on the bottom, and things have been opening with a bit of a drop down, but only to an area where people accumulated, and this then turns into an accumulation low. As you can see, you're well above your 200 period moving average. Price action goes on. The next 30 minutes, what you want to see is your momentum not break to the lower side of the histogram. Here you had a positive candle with its in relation to how the trend had gone in terms of a doji. That extended throughout the next 30 minutes as you had this test on your Rocky Outcrops DMI. Shows you that the positive side just won. Even though you had a doji candle, it was a positive move. So you can put that into context and say it's going to continue. Your momentum at the same time picking up, and your RSI goes straight up to the bullish control zone in all these important lines that we've marked out from previous highs, touches them. At that point, you expect a retrace and to test the area where you broke out from. You got it exactly on a horizontal. My TA and lines work fantastically. Then price action went on, tested the next one, went up, tested its previous high. At that point, you put in a divergent high between the RSI at these 2 points. Well, no, it wasn't. It was a convergent lower high. You had lower momentum, and your RSI, sorry, your DMI shows that that was okay there. Well, there was nothing divergent about it. And on the 30-minute time frame, you made it to the end of the day, having put in some sort of bull flag with slightly more of a pennant shape and a typical bull flag that the measured move from either side of which is not 100% reliable, obviously, but slightly more chance of it going to the top side there from this pennant and from its overall formation. Then you're testing this line once, twice, when you were going through it, then a retrace, a test of it, and it keeps being relevant here. It forces you into this ascending triangle, which has that measured move, and that's why we're talking about that on time frames above and below when we're looking at this segment of price action, this leg of it. All of which you're thinking, well, all of this level horizontal looking left, why is it important? And it's again on this 1 hour, you can see some of it, on the 4 hour, more of it. It's this Fibonacci sequence, it's this retrace from when we put in the highs of this big M formation. Itself a little bit bearish, the second high certainly coming in lower than the first. And so this defines areas when you look left in terms of what's to come. The areas you need to beat are the areas you needed to beat in before, and those that proved to be support when you came back down and tested it, and that's where trades flipped and where liquidity zones need to be repolarized. Here you had a 200 period below you that should be sucked price action for another test, and so that's likely having put in something counter to that. You see a continuation? Not necessarily. It's all about the horizontals. The next level up is the 618 of this larger move down. That comes in at around the 1272, 144, and then further extensions of this smaller move here. And it's obviously it's a higher moves on this Fibonacci than this other one, but this one here is more significant in terms of horizontal lines to the bigger price action, the bigger picture of price action. So we'll see what happens. Does that mean price action moves in this direction towards the end of the week? Well, we've had a positive move. We've had a number of positive breaks and tests. On the daily time frame, you can see we're within a number of different areas that themselves aren't that important. You know, it's only above us to quite a bit of a distance up here to around 188, 189 that you're even going to get the measured move to the important area, which is around from 196 to 205 right now. Call it $10 and $10 zone up there. That's an important area above you, and before you get there, it's not all that important, right? And then down below you, now there's again loads like this, like 182, 186. No, none of that matters. There's these lines here where you're getting full extensions of dropbacks, proper retest if the price action goes on again there, if it accumulates in line with its previous moves, these sort of areas. And there's measured moves taken off the bottom of that triangle. Don't actually go all the way down here. I don't know what this green line was supposed to be. What is this? Come here, green line. Or don't. Anyway, yeah, so what am I doing here? That was the quick take on GME technical analysis. There's a number of different little formations that may or may not be relevant, but they do all speak to the momentum and the trend, and that's like a continuation to the top side. So it looks like it's happening. Are we rolling over here? No, we're pushing up. We're testing previous horizontal levels. We're doing it while our RSI is accumulating higher and higher and capturing its own moving average, pushing through up to now previous levels. We're on the 30 minutes, 15 minutes now, but earlier we looked at it as it moved up, went through these horizontals, back at that area again, having never really dropped. It's all very obvious what that sort of thing means. You missed paint, HJ. Oh, all those different mediums. Jamie's got a good eerie YouTube video on the IFIB levels, early video on the IFIB levels. Thank you very much, Bait Buckets, for directing those to people to how to use them. That video is the best on the internet, explaining it is. And you'll be the best, as good as anyone at using them if you watch it enough times and understand it, right? And I'm not trying to make you watch one video over and over for some fucking stupid reason. Like, it is got loads of things in it. I watch it back and I'm like, that was good the way I managed to fit 8 lessons into that one sentence. That made the video way quicker than I worried it would need to be at the time. And then Rich is like, yeah, that's funny. And no one's going to notice that. And you're like, no, they will. They'll notice it. They just need to watch it enough. Anyway, that's how you use Fibonacci. So there's loads of different types of the tools that you can use to do it with. And I give you a good rough outline of how to use most of them. And you can figure out how to do study and confluence from all of it too. Simone, are you drawing them in? Jamie has a great video on it. Yes, Simone, come on, you know this, don't you? You're drawing them in with the paint. Is that what HJ? You're doing them by hand. Charting by hand. By paint. Paint charting from H. So it looks like there's gaps on these 15-minute time frames when you put price action on these sort of levels. It doesn't look too fancy-dancy, does it? Pfft. Nonsense. Right, that was that. I'm going to go on and do the AMC one. AMC, yo, AMC, my lord, AMC. Right, great, up 5%. And look at that. It's exactly the same deal as what we were talking about here. You know, on some senses, you've got an ascending triangle, right? I mean, this is roughly drawn in, and they don't have to be exactly the same, but it's the same market psychology between both of these charts. So you're on the 1 minute and 15 minute and 5 minutes so far, maybe in others, and you've got that right now. People will say that's a wedge, and that's like, no, that's an ascending triangle, right? That's what it is. It's not a wedge. Not everything's a wedge. Stop saying that, right? Anyway, yada yada. There's also a bull flag in there, and there's different ways of looking at that. And then you could say, like, on the greater scheme of things, it's just an uptrend with higher highs, higher lows, and you could draw a line through the middle of it and say there's the trend. It likely continues. Within this, there's a number of measured moves taking you up. That one, obviously, same as the pole. I mean, I could have just cloned it, but take it, drop it on the top there. I don't know when this is going to break out, or if it does break out to the top side, and there can't be any that could mean there's a like higher than 60% chance that this formation itself says like the price will just always go to the top side. When you see that there and you got the right confirmation in RSI, which you haven't necessarily, you have kind of more or less here, it just more or less 60% of the time will go to the top side, more than it won't. And that's the way it is. So, like, you know, whatever, you add other shit in to make it reliable. We'll do that in a minute. The measured move takes you up to $46. Not bad from 43, $3 there, nearly another 10%, considering you've already put in 5 today, you know, and when that hasn't been any retrace on this move since you touched in here around $35, haven't put 10 on, right? 10 on, $10 on something that only cost 35. It's brilliant. It's been brilliant, you know, and I'm proud of everybody and myself as well for the day on this thing. So these are the moves, and that's what's likely to happen again, isn't it? Unless, of course, with the reaction to that news, they've managed to change everybody's perspective and feeling about things. It still seems to me that even if this is in a bearish move, like, why would you want to take it lower from here? If you're a shorter and you're believing it going short, then there's other areas where it likely goes to where you'd rather open them from. And there also, as you can see, like the measured moves and like the things I'm talking about, how this needs to do these things on these indicators and that. See, like on AMC here, like recover your own moving average. Don't break below that center line. In fact, if prices maintain up in this area for way longer than this formation even suggests they would, and you don't get below that center line, that's very bullish. If you start going from here and touch back into the bullish control zone, not even having got to the center line, that's very bullish. If you even recover your own moving average and hold it throughout a day, that's very bullish. And even on the MACD, you can see here, like, there's, you know, no real conviction that's a trend for momentum to the downside, despite where you would look for it to come in at. You know, that huge turnaround in momentum, that massive slope down you saw, and that was just your moving averages catching up with the lower side of price action, really, and that'll be what you do. You know, you get a breather on, especially when you've done a massive move, which is what that is, you know, relative to most things. That's quite a massive move. So you've got your Rick and Morty lips, 1, 2, 3 of them in a row, 1, 2, 3 recent highs. Let's see if that continues. Nothing divergent about that. Perhaps you'd look between these and say, that one was higher than its previous one. It wasn't here. You get another one at least before you track that overall trend, and that would be a 50 or 200 period test, both of which, like we say, they're coming up to the bottom of price action. You're only on the 15-minute time frame. Checking out AMC, and it closed today at 43.03, and now it's at 43.12. That's 5.62% up in the day, and then 0.2 cents. Not a big deal. A range from 40.49 to 43.63 there. $3 range. Not bad, right? 10% plus. Not bad. Yeah, and so you've got a number of things I told you there about your indicators. On the 30 minutes, you're looking for the D point on this harmonic, 1618, 2618, 3618. On that Fibonacci, it's not all that drastic. This is on that Fibonacci, sounds like a lot, but it's measured from a low to a high that are themselves quite close together, and the extension on it, when you look at it horizontally and see what's going on, are just at significant levels. Like the 2414 comes in at the B point of the harmonic, and if this was a valid harmonic, that itself is a bearish one, then the D point is fucking miles up there. Yo, don't be sorry. Or maybe you should be sorry. What are you sorry for? Yeah, so pardon me, 30 minutes. Actually, go back to 30 minutes there. Looks a little bit like it's tired on the MACD, in 30 minutes. It does. But if you're holding up here, which also looks a little bit tired, pardon me, then well done. And your DI positive itself isn't inspiring me with confidence at this level. If it was a slope on it, it'd be better. So, there is no guarantee that it goes up. Like, it's going up, and there's never any guarantees of anything. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's that there's no, like, it's just, in that formation, that's like, yeah, it could, but really that's like looking at stuff on a freaking tiny time frame. We've only made it to the 30 minutes, and that's so very minuscule. It doesn't mean anything. It's not reliable. Your consistent trend here underneath would already have had 3 touches, suggest the trajectory of that isn't quite as steep, and maybe it does come or for a retest, or at least persist in this area for a bit longer. Again, that would be both positive should they move on. 50 period at this time frame comes in at around 41, and maybe it is that there's a negative pushback in the morning and the news cycle, and you see that prices try to reach for that area 41.10, 41.60, 41.44, the areas within there that people might be looking for rebuys if they themselves are bullish. Then you've got so it's like, should it go lower? This 50 period moving average on a 1 hour time frame, and the 200 coming in just underneath $40. But does it look like it's going there like that? Not really. It kind of looks like it's going to the top side. It's up here where you're getting real tests, and from here into the above where you'd be looking to short this. Even better if you would wait for ages, right? Even better, in fact, you just not do it. You just wait for so long that you then fall asleep and forget. That'd be perfect. So fit that into your plans. Short tell us. So anyway, measured moves out of these sort of things only keeps you back to testing your previous highs in a move that itself was a period of flux, right? This itself is higher than a lot of different moves. It was a bearish accumulation wedge. It broke down. Broke up again. Let's see. Break this high. Testing it again is not unusual. I think I was saying this earlier, because if it being your most recent high and it lower high than its previous one, and you've put in a higher low, right? You've tested the downside on a macro level and succeeded. And at this level, you can't quite qualify that as being a test, right? Because you could easily just ignore B in terms of highs and lows and say X was a high, and then we had a low where this A is. And then since then, price action has not done anything, right? That's what some people would say. And they'd be looking for it to get above X or get below A, to then say, well, now it's a higher low. And it's like, yeah, cool, whatever. But you need both sides of the trend, the top and the bottom. So like on this trend, you've got all these higher lows on the bottom. So you've already got uptrend confirmed on this accumulation side of the trend, right? Which is where you would expect to find it first in the context of an uptrend, isn't it? Like, because that's just so logical and obvious. And why would you not just use TA? Because you can apply it like this with logic, and it makes your life so much easier, right? Anyway, I don't know, right? I don't know. Some people don't want it easy, eh? Like, you do it properly, it makes it easy. Like, it really does. Anyway, talking about doing it properly, the D point in that harmonic somewhere up in around $83. On the way there, you've got these Fibonacci's, you've got these horizontals. Like, I'll not bore you, it's a busy ape thing. You're looking for it to get above $44 and to hold it there, and then you're looking for it to aim for $50. And then you're looking for it to aim, if you can, up at 55, 54, get above there. Looking for 62, and if it gets to 62, it'll definitely go on then and try its previous high. There's no interest in this crappy area here being your high. If it gets up there after this concerted move, having put in a higher low and broken this previous high, that's not the high you're really testing, right? You get there, the weak hands will lose their profits. It'll go on test higher highs, and at that point, bullish as F. The question is, what does it do at the D point? And should it not get there? The areas where you'd be looking for it to be putting in congestion are around $50. Like, your risk profile totally changes after $50. The move from whatever that exact low there was, like $32 or something, up to 53. Like, that percentage move for the risk you were taking, it's like well worth it. Like, the percentage move up here, it's less in most cases of this move, should you have already broken out here. And then the risk on the bottom is that it goes down loads and tests like horizontals down here, which is like why you buy things and then weeks later, even if for like a day or longer you were underwater, whatever, weeks later, you're like, wow, well, I'm glad I don't have to buy it here because that'd be a really tough decision. And I already own loads of it and that and whatnot. And there's other people who have to make the tough decision, right? And so that's why you wait at periods like this B point to get it at this C point and so on, right? And you read these divergent signs and you're like, oh, look at that. A little bit of nonsense manipulation going on likely here. Oh, a little bit of trend extended here. Oh, a little bit of a retrace here. Oh, that's not going to be a reversal. That'll be a reaction. Oh, here we'll get in, and then you do, and then we got all these great trades. So that's why that works. AMC, what did we get to? Oh, we got up to GME can boast significantly because it's the 1 hour time frame, right? Yeah. And then there's this, again, that keeps reminding me of those fucking shoes, right? So there's your B and there's your D. That's the two areas you're looking to at the minute, right? $50 if it breaks at 55, and then the D extension. This itself being a pennant isn't something I'd put too much focus on until such time as you'd broken this diagonal, which is self perhaps somehow parallel to this. If I was to straighten it out, likely is this sort of channel along the bottom side where you've got those two touches and you've already got 2 touches here, and does it come in and make a third one and give either of these some validity? May do. Then retrace, test a different horizontal and go back up again. Well, there will be a number of oscillations between $30 and $80, right? Obviously, like, prices can go up and down. None of this is financial advice. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you don't like it, that's cool. And don't bitch at me about it, you know. I understand that using that word can be said by some people or certain nomenclature pushes an anti-feminism sense on the world, and I understand I've got female viewers also who might find it offensive, and to them I'd say, look, stop being a pussy, you want some balls if you're going to trade, stop taking everything so freaking personally. This isn't a gender-based thing, this is just me making a mistake every so often, and I'm sorry about that. Forgive me as I make it consciously. Still, please forgive me. Anyway, here we go, right? Don't be offended. It's a nice show. I like all these. Don't argue with each other, right? In the comments. I hate seeing people argue with each other. It's like, why is doing that? Especially when I know both of you are sound. And it's like, how did you two fall out? Like, I love you guys. Why is falling out? Anyway, whatever. Price action AMC looks great. We covered that now. We did everything, in fact. I even did request earlier and I spoke to Andy and we did TA earlier on. Can you do a cooking segment? HJ says, I could do something else. Rocky and I had very funny ideas about other things we could do, but like, I don't know if I could really justify a cooking segment, you know. 164 viewers, you know, and our donations will be, in terms of advertising money, might get about 30 cents. So I don't know how people are running their YouTube career on that and not putting the time in. I don't know, I put in more time and I don't get the same back. So then I see arguments on the internet about super chats and whatnot. I'm like, And then other big YouTubers jump in, they're like, advertising money should be enough. And I'm like, what? Man, what? So I don't know. I don't know if I can fit in a cooking segment, H. Do you know any like special recipes that are made with porridge? If you do, hit me up and we'll do a cooking segment, right? We'll do all the wonderful things that you can cook with porridge. It's true, they're oats, and there is things you can do. So let's do it, H. Let's do it. Cooking show. Anyway, I've lost 10% of my viewers since I started talking about that. That's quite funny. I also got a couple of likes though, so thanks for that on the way out, folks. It's appreciated. Lisa, there you go. We're not that sensitive. Thanks. Excellent. Well, there's hardly any of you, so I hope not too much. And that's when I say when 10% of people disappear like that, it's not too big a deal, right? Because it's only like, 16 people or whatever. So, hey, and I find 16 people usually just walk into the shops, I've noticed recently. Right, so, what am I talking about this for? Right, look at all those trade spawns. Is this our niche? It is. We're the niche, actually, yes. As I was saying earlier, you don't have to be the biggest to be the best. I certainly never matter. It's all about being the fastest. This could be wholesome and unproductive. Could be just right up my street, or your street, or somebody's street, and try to be productive. And wholesome. How many chefs are in the viewership? Good questions there. Tradespotting. So, shades of porridge. 50 Shades of Porridge. Boom. We fucking got it. That is it. That is it, man. That is the title of Tradespotting's autobiography. 50 Shades of Porridge by ghostwritten By who came up with the answer? Who did that? Don't let me forget. I did want to give you credit for something I'll say a number of times in future. Where is it? You teaching me how to make stuff taste good. Okay, you guys, me teaching you how to make stuff taste good. Hey, ain't nobody teaching me nothing. I'm an old dog. You can make me food though, I'll eat it. We're not that sensitive. I get there, so I only have investigations of food and pot roast. Interesting. Hey, I'm not a cat. How you doing, my friend? Actually, yes. Congee savoury porridge. Here's H. Stop being weird. Is it what? Come on, H. What? Where's the 50 Shades of Porridge joke? There it was. It was just a chick from Florida. I should have known. 50 Shades of Porridge. Get it right fucking down, yeah. You fuckers. Get it. Sorry. What's wrong? It's Monday. It's Monday and I haven't slept since Thursday. That's probably what it is. Have I done everything? I think I have. Great, excellent. It was great meeting you all. Thanks. If this is the last time I ever see you, I will miss you greatly. And if this is the last time, well, why are we talking about last times? It's the start of the week. I should be talking about how fantastic it is. Japanese porridge, savoury ting. Anyway, Japanese porridge. Japanese porridge. Charting on the Japanese porridge. We could make a song about that. I really want to get some anime stuff. You know, if you've got any graphic design skills and you like Japanese things and you've got a take on Tradespotting, I'd love to see it. Jamie, are your teeth jacked up or what? Oh, they are a little bit perky sometimes. Little sus by. Don't be sus. I'm only joking, H. You know, you're the fall guy for my joke. Get back up again, please. Jamie, are your teeth jacked? Slightly. I have got these little patches, you know, I think I've added them to Unreasonable.shop. It's so that they maintain their sensitivity. Because if you're constantly jacked, you know, there's only certain materials you use. People, I mean, I'll not go on about it. Tradespotting, sacrifice. You're right, Brad. I nearly disappeared without doing it, and I have to write it down as it happens. What does that building blonde mean? Is there something positive? It's porridge recipes coming in thick and fast. Cooking segment, huh? This shit's gonna get. See if I did a cooking segment. Fucking hell. I can't even get a thought out of my head without laughing. Right. Here somewhere. So who have we got between Simone Cooper and a whap will hit going to get whap head off there, Simone, and Manifest Density? Is he here? He wanted his head chopped off. Maybe he wanted it at the start of the stream. That ain't the way it works. There you are, Sal. How you doing, Tradespotting? Oliver wants to know what you even do on these streams. Ha, Oliver. What do I do what do I even do? Oliver, you, my friend, are like myself. Oliver. Like yourself, I ask, please, sir, can I have some more? I look at the charts and they tell me whether or not I can and what time I'm likely to best get it, when I can make most use of my budget to overfill my trolley and underspend. And in doing so, I try to deliver the message in an entertaining way, because the absurdity of somebody like me calling price action as accurately as I do out here on YouTube for essentially free, like today I got tenner there for doing this show, and I'll get nothing for advertising. If likely I'll stick it off for advertising because I swear too much or something. I don't know why it happens to me all the time. And so I do it in a nice, funny way that keeps me entertained. It makes it nice for me to actually identify with people that are similar to me, which means that I don't necessarily have the biggest viewership, but they are like people that I get on with. I feel like I would anyway. I definitely think I do when I read everything they say and I meet them elsewhere on the internet. Why are my phones really going with these porridge recipes? And so, I deliver information that helps people in a way that also makes friends, and I get on with people, and like we just so happens to change people's lives and change the world, you know, that's what we're going for. Tradespotting, I understand now. Thank you, Oliver. Hey, Oliver, you're Sarah's sister. You're like me. You say, please, can I have some more, Sarah? And she's like, no, I'm a wicked evil witch and you can't have anything. I'm keeping it all for me. That's like, you're Oliver. You're Oliver of the brother of Sarah. That's it, isn't it? Well, lovely family. isn't it? Especially the Oliver part of it. Sarah, why don't you give Oliver some more? Wow, that's right. Yes, it is right. Damn straight it is. I understand now. He understands now. We all understand. Where are you, manifest density, so I can make you understand? Where is he? At me. He hasn't at me. He hasn't at me. He hasn't at me? He hasn't at me. You know Brad Bullish. Wolfrick, there's Wolfrick. That's my shit. That's my shit, man. Yo, manifest density, thank you for your direct. So it was slow and painful. You did him? Manifest, he didn't at me. Is that because he was dead? Ha, possible. Happens. There he is. Who needs their glass of sangria topped up? They're about to pop my cork. Yay! 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 Oh, wow. Tradespotting. Boopity boop boop. There he is. He's getting it done right now. I can see it's still going on. His name was Manifest Density. It feels like it still is his name, but it won't be for long. It is gone, gone, gone. That name will change. That person is now no longer among us, though that exothermic sacrifice does not just warm our cockles, it also warms our glass with beautiful red sangria and paints anew our towering gamma ramp, which one day we're really going to kick it off. I mean, I will find the on button and we'll get it going. It's got travelator and all sorts of shit. It's amazing. Our gamma ramp's better than anyone else's gamma ramp. Tradespotting, keep on keeping on and doing good work. Can't wait till you change the world with GME money. Nice community you got here, mate. Well, it's all the other people, you know, yourself being a part of it. And as soon as you arrive, you're part of the community and part of the culture. And either if you don't talk, you're all equally valued. So anybody who ever feels like being more involved, all you need to do is say hello and you're appreciated. And if you've not seen me much, you're equally appreciated. And if you haven't been around for a while, what the fuck is that all about? Tradespotting, if you give Oliver more, he eats for a day. If you teach Oliver how to get more, he eats forever. Well, you are going to be a real porridge disciple, aren't you, Oliver? You and me. We'll get all the porridge, and then people will be asking us for more, and we can say, yes, but take this porridge and plant some of it to grow more porridge in the porridge trees. Those porridge trees that fill this hills of Scotland, and that's all we can grow here because, well, you know, the clearances and that they cleared the porridge trees, something. So everybody's had a great day. I love that you for that, and I love you all for that, says somebody, which was, I slapped on the end of my sentence, which I can't remember the start of. Hope that didn't sound too weird. What else was I going to do while I was here? I was going to make sure, importantly, that I did, what was it? There's just one. Chuck on to Rocky there if you haven't seen his talk through of the dot article. I think we linked to that earlier. It's really important you check that out. That articles, not just the articles, but the SEC report itself and Rocky's understanding of it will be important. When I was going to look for yes. Thank you very much for all the work you did, especially and not limited to, but very much thanks to Wolfrick for all the work you do chopping off and chopping up things. There it is there. You can see the replay now, or you can't because I haven't got the screen up, but if I could get up, I'd get you the replay and you'd be able to see Wolfrick there in the background. Got it in slow motion, whapping off Manifest Density's head. There's me in the background catching an awful huge percentage of the sangria. Thank you, me, everybody. And there's the rest of you all partying naked down there at the beach. Excellent. So I'll get that up. I'll put that on a separate little stream so everyone can see that sacrifice. And upload it to Smaloobly later on tonight. Thank you very much for everybody who tuned in. Stop chopping that guy's head off, please, there. And you can hear the sacrifice, you know, because it's what it's like when you... Anyway, Simone, you're getting your head. Brad Bullish, one of these days. You know, all he is. Sal, you know, he's like, I'm not letting my head. We wait and see. You wait and see. And Oliver, yourself, you little porridge fiend. You're going to get your head chopped off one day. When you're old enough, lad. When you're old enough and strapping enough, we'll whap the head off there. And you can eat all the porridge you want up in the porridge heaven. It's, you know, I swear, it's porridge trees everywhere up there. Right. Lovely jubbly. Psst. Tomorrow's Tadpole Games. You know, I wonder sometimes. I wonder, do they really love me? Do they? Or is it all just pretend? Is it all just pretend? Or do they really, really love me? Do they? Hey, thanks everybody. What am I on? Aye. Sodium pentathiol, actually. That's the answer. Short answer. Thank you very much. It's appreciated. Especially Wolfrick. Above all else, Wolfrick, for doing the sacrifices. It's a messy job. And remember,